Morning, YouTube. How we doing? Yeah, we live. We live on today morning on PincheAls Garage, live in the morning on my way to worko. So how we doing today, everyone? I know it's early. I know it's very early, but you know, it's on my way to work. To see who decides to join this morning before we start a conversation. Let's see, we got someone. Good morning, good morning. Take my badge on, it's pretty my neck. Who we got on here? Rob. Hey, what's up, buddy? Just just cruising around town, you know, just cruising. So, going live this morning, give you guys a couple updates. So the kids finished building their first 1.8T this time, I guess 2 weeks ago, because I was out on my fourth was super chill. I was just chilling at home. Went to my friend's house for a couple hours, and then went back home. And then here in Ramona, we did the fireworks down the street. I mean, the fireworks was literally like a block down the street from my house, so we pulled over on the street and watched the fireworks. It was pretty chill. Definitely a good time, you know. How about you, Rob? How was your fourth? What'd you end up doing? Not in anything difficult to drive in or ride in, so I could actually do a quick read on there. We stayed in on the 4th. Took the grandbaby SeaWorld for the fireworks show. Nice. Okay. Yeah. See, just chill. You know, it's a chill day. Internet's gonna cut out for a second, so bear with me. So she gets some disconnect, and then we'll be reconnected in just a second. This area kind of sucks for service. It's insane that you have grandchildren now, Rob. Just you have grandchildren. I don't have grandchildren. And I think I'm older than you, Rob. Like, I definitely think I'm older than you. I'm 42. No, it definitely is freaking cool. But I'm still like, you know, I think I'm older than you. I think I am. I don't know. I think I am older than you. I don't know, but how old are you, Rob? Your oldest is what? How old are you? I didn't ask how old your child was. You started earlier than I did for children. So I'm 42. How old are you? Okay, 46. So you're 4 years older than me. All right. So you're not older by much. Not by much. So, and you have grandchildren. That's like kaplooey to me. my oldest kid is 11. All right. So my son is 11. He's turning 12 this year in November. My daughter just turned 6. So, yeah. You know, I definitely started late. I'm a late bloomer in having children, but still, though, like, that's insane, dude. Just, like, to put that in perspective, that's pretty gnarly. You know? But that's super cool, though. Super cool you got grandchildren now, because you got a 26-year-old kid. You know, I know you have a couple younger ones. So back to what I was talking about my students. So my students all just built a 1.8T. So I have 2 groups of kids, well technically 3, but 2 of them right now that built 2 1.8T engines from the bottom up. Now obviously they were the trash motors because we didn't buy any new components for them. It was just the learning process of assembly. Oh man, they're moving too. That's rough. So as they learn the process of assembly of a full block, I'm actually dropping off 2 engines, 2 1.8T engines to get resurfaced and honed to be ready for machining. I mean, for rebuilding, actual rebuilding. Now, I am going to be live streaming and recording them building these engines as I walk you guys through the entire process. These kids, I'm not kidding, have absorbed this information so well that I'm going to trust them in building one of my 1.8Ts for one of my cars, and then the other 1.8T is going into another car that we are going to be doing for a friend. There is a VR6 engine as well. There we go. Sorry guys if you guys didn't have a oh come on, just pull right in, right? Jeez. How fast can we do that? I mean, how fast you can do it is you can't, just remember, you can't just pull the head and just pop in a head gasket. You got to pull the whole engine. You got to pull the engine out, because if not, it's going to be warped. We gotta at least deck the head, deck the block. You know, this is the first time the engine's been actually separated. I mean, there's going to be some warping, guaranteed. You know, it's one of those things I'm going to tell you guys. It's like I get this question. I know you're going to say that because I do things right. All right, Rob, I do it right. So, one thing I get this question asked a lot, and not on YouTube, but mostly on my Facebook or just on Instagram. People will follow me and ask me this question. Can you pull the engine apart and just slap in a gasket? Yes, you can. However, it's not recommended. Number one, you can kind of polish the head and the block. I mean, you want a really good mating surface. All right, so just so you guys know, you can do your due diligence and like clean the surfaces, right? But engines now, you gotta understand, most of the blocks that exist now have to the 150, 200,000 mile mark, which means there's going to be some other issues besides warping. There's going to be pitting. There's going to be oxidation. In other other words, rusting throughout the channels and all of that. And you're just slapping on a head gasket. You know, to me, you're just asking for an engine to overheat and warp even more sooner than later. All right? I'm building my 6.4. I mean, I've never decked the head or block, no issues. Again, for Tino, I'm not going to say you're not going to have issues. I'm just said you did it wrong. That's it. Okay? I'm never going to promise or guarantee you guys that you're not going to have issues. But it's the wrong way of doing it. All right? If you separate the head and the block, depending on the amount of mileage on that head and block and what was done to it prior to that, okay? In other words, its life and how its life has been treated, all right? There is a risk that the head and the block are going to warp. Knowing that, risk is there, guys, in the back of your head, knowing that. And you're just like, you know what? I'm not pulling the engine out. I don't want to pull the engine out. Go for it. What's going to happen on a good rev, like say climbing a hill, going long term, or just driving the car harder than normal, there's a really good potential that the head gasket's going to blow. I'm not going to say like explode, but it's going to fail because there's a little gap somewhere that's just big enough, that's just not holding compression just right. And that's the end of that. Okay? Again, a lot of people do this where they just do it because, number one, they need a car back up and running, like ASAP. Number two, price. Obviously, you know, it's not cheap, right? Because you're doing a full teardown and you got to rebuild it. I understand that. You know, we do things based off of budget. I understand. All right? When someone comes to me and is like, hey, can I do this? Yes. Yes, you can. Is it right? No. No, it's not correct. Why? Because of price. You know, we all have lives. Shit isn't cheap. You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say I have all the money in the world. Hell no. I'm going to tell you I'm going to do what I do because of my comfort, and how do you say, it's the way I will teach you how to do it. I do it because in Mexico City and no trustworthy shop here. Yeah, exactly. Again, Tino, that makes sense, right? That is your situation. That is your reality. I understand that. All right? I'm just saying, not because of budget or nothing, just yeah, I mean, you're in Mexico and it's hard to find good stuff out there. I agree, definitely. There's no one you can really trust. And then when you show up, it's like, oh, I want this done like this and like this. They're like, oh, this guy's got money. We're going to rip him off. I understand that. Yeah, got speakers. Yeah, I know, definitely. So, my kids, so the two blocks that I have actually were already and honed out. One was actually bored over, and then one was an actual just a stock refresh. But again, as you guys know, my history, had some health issues and family issues, and they sat. They got a little bit of rust on them. I'm gonna take them back to the machine shop to get them cleaned up. But I'm taking the kids on a field trip to the machine shop so they can see how engines are, how do you say, refurbished to get a new life. Now, when Rob asking me, head gasket and all that. You thinking about doing it yourself? So there is a tool for decking heads and blocks on your own, okay? Now, you need something called a straight edge. And it's a special straight edge. You need a straight edge that is true, okay? Yeah, I'm going back to the same shop in San Marcos, is where I always go to, Paradise Motorsports. But this question, any tools? So there is something called a straight edge. It's a big piece of metal that's super heavy. Just so you know, it's not light. It's very heavy. It's a weighted straight edge, and you can actually put. It's designed for sandpaper on it. Now you use like 2,000 or 1,000 grit sandpaper. You don't use like very rough sandpaper, just so you know. And you need two people. I mean, one person can do it, but two people is preferred. And you usually just go forward and back on it. It's as wide. I'm telling you, it's a big piece of metal, but it's it's perfectly flat. It's perfect. It's true flat. Okay. They use that, and you can, with two people, you push it forward and back, and you literally sand. You're sanding the engine head and block. Again, it's one of those things that you got to be very careful about sanding, because you're sanding. It's not perfect. However, it probably is going to be the best thing before a shop does it for you. Honestly, I mean, I would try to find a shop that you maybe get a good reputation with and hang out and find out, if they do good work. Make friends and hang out with the people at the shop and learn things with them. Buy them beer and food and find out, if they're actually true and someone that you can trust. Because if you can, there you go. Drop off your stuff there. But again, it's hard. It's really hard. Back again to the engine. The kids are going to go on a field trip to the machine shop at Paradise Motorsports. And we're going to go and hang out for a day at the shop. And they're going to show us. They're going to teach us machine shop. And we're going to film it. We're going to live stream. We're going to hang out. We're going to buy food for everybody at the shop. And thanks for that. And who knows, that maybe these kids might get inspiration and probably become future machinists. I don't know. I'm bringing them there because I want to make sure that they get every single aspect of engine building. Okay, not car stuff, just engine building. Because some of these kids might fall in love with machines and fall in love with what they do. So I want them to get a taste of everything that revolves around a machine shop and just part of the automotive world. Because to this day, a lot of people, it's a dying art. It's a dying art on everything that's going on in the automotive industry. We've turned into computer technicians versus mechanics versus your best friend coming over and we're working on doing coilovers, doing an intake. Just you got your first mod, right? And you and your buddies come over and it's like, bro, let's put this new mod on. And then going out there and giving it a rip and making it sound cool, right? And nowadays it's like, check out my car, yay, it takes me to work, cool, that's it. It's dying. And it's getting to the point where more and more cars are just turning into point A, point B machines. You know, they're not destinations. You're not getting there with a purpose. You know, none of these kids are getting cars like shit boxes, you know, growing up and being like, bro, you know, like me and my good example, I had my first car was a Bug. I didn't think it was a total shit box, you know. And how do I explain, like, it was problematic from day one. That was my first car, and I learned how to adjust carburetors. I learned how to change the tires on it. I learned how to, you know, put an exhaust. I learned how to that was my first car with the stereo in it. I learned how to put a stereo in that, you know, and it was amazing. You know, nowadays, people are just happy with the stock stereo. People are happy with the stock performance or the stock noise that the vehicle makes. You know, they settle with what they have, you know, nowadays. And that's sad, because cars, you're in them for a long time throughout the week. You're driving back and forth in them every single day. You know, going to school, going to work, picking up your friends, going to your friend's house. Every day they're being used for something. Give it some freaking character, you know, give it a personality. And that's what I'm trying to teach these kids. Like, cars are not soulless, they're not purposeless. They have something. I honestly believe cars have souls and personalities. And everyone is different, even though they're identical, right? You know, good example is, like, put 10 Mark IVs in front of you. Every single one is different. You know, everyone did something different to them, and it just feels unique about them. You know, and that's what I love about cars. You know, they're all individuals. They're all different. You know, these new cars, especially electric cars. Holy smokes. Talk about a useless, pointless point A to B vehicle. Turn it on and it's just whatever, you know? Man. You know, like this F-150, when I first bought it, was sad, depressing. You know, slapped on some new turbos, an intake system, intercooler, and exhaust, did a lift, some tires, and now it's not a boring vehicle anymore. Next thing is on this truck, yes sir, on the way to work. Now I want to do a full stereo system in this truck. The stereo system in these things are garbage. They're depressing. I want to build a custom box. There we go. Back on. That's right, I'm on the way to work. So, again, just pulling in right now to work. I'm dressed in my gym clothing because I gotta hit the gym. Good thing my office has a gym in it, so I get to work and hit the gym for a while. I just finished my deposit. It's full. Taking a shit. I'm gonna read Rob's comment right now. Hey man, might as well get paid, right? I'm paid to take a shit. Alright, found 2003 Jetta VR6, transmission issues, has 66 ton mics. They're wanting $1,500. Would be worth picking up and grabbing trans from LKQ. Looking at the options for my son. Yes and no. It's a VR6, and if it's a manual, then yeah, go for it. Finding a VR transmission is going to be kind of hard, but you can use the original bell housing. So it's auto. Yeah, see, I wouldn't even touch it. It'd be a nightmare, honestly. I would not touch that. I would go hunt for a VR6 Jetta or something like that. Or we can talk later. I have something, maybe something for you, but we have to talk later for that. I gotta go. I just made it to work. I will see you guys hopefully sooner than later. I've been trying to figure out a schedule. I'm trying to figure out a schedule for live streaming at home while we're talking. I'm probably going to do Mondays and Tuesdays in my class, but I tend to do TikTok and YouTube, mostly TikTok now for my kids live streaming. They've been getting a lot of attention on TikTok for them. So we'll talk. We'll figure it out. Maybe there might be something different. Yep. You guys have a wonderful day. See you guys soon as well. Rob, I don't know if you're big on camping, but if you want to come camping with us, we're going to be camping probably next week and the week after. Just local camping. I don't know. But let's talk. Deuces. You guys have a wonderful day.